right, it's Talk Sport on Global Television this beautiful Monday morning. It's so good to travel around the world of sport over the weekend, from England to Spain, from Spain to Germany, from Germany all the way to Italy for the Italian Serie A. The result of the games that were played over the weekend was so amazing. Let me just use that word amazing as a matter of fact, because everything happening from the world of sport is actually very, very interesting. I will always say this, that the surprises, the intrigues, and of course the disappointment and celebration entertainment, you can take it away when it comes to sport. My name is Ramsey Enoch. I'm going to be your pilot man as far as sport is concerned this morning. But then Gideon Okibe will be joining me via Zoom. And of course, we will be talking sport together. Then, as we get longer, I will have someone join me also here. Mr. James will join me live in the studio here if time permits him, because he is actually getting to this place right now. If his flight arrives on time, he's going to be part of the Sports Talk Sport this morning. Let me quickly take you through the result of the matches that went down over the weekend. But then, Gideon Okibe, how are you feeling right now? All right, Gideon? Hello? Hello, Gideon? Okay. I'll let you know when Gideon gets on. But then, results and reactions from the match that was played over the weekend. The weekend streetwise, Arsenal actually showed that they are real deal amid Manchester City's pain. How did it really happen? John Stones' 98th-minute equalizer salvaged a 2-2 draw for Manchester City against their rival, talking about 10-man Arsenal. Arsenal, it didn't really go well for Arsenal yesterday. Why? From the beginning, because they got a red card, and of course that game Arsenal. You know why? I want to give it to Arsenal because they were playing 10 men, but then they actually did fantastic. Let me quickly let you know that 10-man Arsenal clash between the two favorites, that's Manchester City and Arsenal, in the Premier League title on Sunday was a very, very intriguing game. It was a very, very surprising game. It was a very, very entertaining game also, because we're talking about sport right here. And of course, Arsenal played their entire second half a man down. How did it happen? Leandro Trossard was actually sent off, but they were actually seconds away from inflicting City's first home defeat since November 2022. Since November 22, Manchester City have not really gotten a defeat back home. But then Arsenal was supposed to do it, but as the case may be, they didn't do it. All right, I have Gideon right here. Good morning, Gideon Okibe. Okay, as a matter of fact, Gideon is going to join me any moment from now, talking about Arsenal's game against Manchester City. Despite the fact that it was 10 against 11, you can see how that game actually ended for Arsenal. I was actually thinking about that game, and I said I will really give the winning to Arsenal because they were one man down. But despite that fact, they still inflicted Man City. Should I call it a pain? It was really a pain for Manchester City because they never saw it coming. But as it is right now, that would have been their first home defeat since November 2022. Manchester City have never been defeated back home. The last time it happened was 2022. Arsenal came close to doing it on Sunday, but then, I don't know, I think the god of soccer really loved Manchester City. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what you think about that. And there was an equalizer. A draw is just what Manchester City needed to retake top spot. And as I speak with you, they have 2 points clear of Arsenal in fourth. Arsenal's manager, you know, after every game like this, there is a reaction coming from the managers, the coaches. I mean, they are the managers. When I say manager, I'm talking about the coach, Mikel Arteta, and his players could not hide their pain. Should I call that one a pain, or I should really call it an agony? Well, it was an agony, an agonizing moment for Arsenal after everything they've done, and the equalizer actually came up. But they couldn't hide their pain in pouring their Mancunian rain as a statement when they would rate higher than any other was actually snatched away at the death. I call it a sudden death coming from Manchester City, or else Arsenal would have made a statement, and that statement would have been very loud, something that has not happened in since 2022 would have repeated itself. That is the home defeat for City. City have actually kept it very clean, not having a home defeat, but Arsenal came close to doing it until that equalizer came. Someone will always say when it comes to games, Arsenal is always getting very close, but then most times they don't really get the real deal. But that of the weekend was a different ball game altogether. Still, Talk Sports live on your screen right now. City manager Pep Guardiola led celebration that smack of a victory rather than a points claim at last. This in itself is a testimony to Tuchel's experience of this increasing mature and steely Arsenal put them through. Well, Arsenal really put them through a whole lot, and the coach actually came out to say, well, we never saw it coming. He was even the one that led the celebration when the equalizer came. I'm talking about Pep Guardiola. That's the coach of Manchester City. Then Manchester City actually celebrated, and the celebration kick-started with their coach, the manager, because it would have been a very massive embarrassment for at least Manchester City if that equalizer never came. And I think something very fantastic happened in that game, and that's the game where Erling Haaland, with inevitability, crowned a ferocious City start after 9 minutes with his 100th goal in 105 starts, but that was a very good one. All right, thank you very much. I will be getting to my guest in a moment from now, but then talking about Haaland, who had came out earlier to say, well, he wants to equal what, of course, Ronaldo is doing. You know, Ronaldo is an idol for sport lovers and even players alike, and I think it is a very good one. Gideon Okibe is right here talking about Arsenal and Manchester City's game. He's going to react to it as soon as he come up on board. His flights just arrived. Well, he's going to be joining me from Benue State this morning. Good morning, Gideon Okibe.
Good morning, Ramsey. Good morning to you guys in the studio. I trust you're having a great Monday morning over there.
Yes, we're really having a great Monday morning. All right, let's talk about the game between Manchester City and, of course, Arsenal yesterday. You remember that equalizer. What would have happened if that equalizer never came? Because since 2022, Manchester City have not been defeated back at home. It almost happened, but then the equalizer came, even though they were one man down. What do you think about that game, Man City and Arsenal's game, Gideon?
Well, just like expected, that was a clash of the titan, right? And you see that so many persons, right, were expectant of the game. I am neither a fan of both teams, but I actually watched from the very beginning down to the end because it was very, very intriguing. Well, Arsenal actually outperformed, they actually beat the expectation of most people, especially immediately the second half began. Ateta with his special tactics, right? It was more of a master class, which would have paid off until the dying minute where they actually lost it. It's quite an unfortunate one for Arsenal. Arsenal felt like a defeat. Defeated Lyon that yesterday. More like, it was more like a perfect win for City because at that stage of the game where they actually, grabbed that precious 1 point and to keep their unbeaten run alive, it will always look like, a win for any club of that magnitude, against an Arsenal team. And I actually never saw it coming that far. I was envisaging that City, with their might and their significance, right, will find a way to break into the defense of the Arsenal football team. But the resilience, right, from Arsenal was unimaginable. Their keeper was an outstanding personality on the pitch that day, and he deserves all the accolades that need to give it to anybody, because he kept the ball away from entering the post all through the time. And even at the last moment where City got the equalizer, we all saw that it was beyond his power. He did his best, but the rebounds was, nothing anybody could, have done, So you see, the pain was more with the Arsenal team, even though their shot is poor away from home. It sent just one signal that Arsenal is beyond whatever you ever think. I might be wrong, with the idea that Arsenal will not go as far as they went last season, but with a show of play, grabbing 2 red cards in, at least 3 successive Premier League games, and still sitting comfortably within the first, 5 points, the 5 table league leaders. I think Arsenal is doing something really, really unique. It's just been unfortunate that they were able to, be so disciplined enough to maintain a clean sheet. On the flip side, I still have a little, opinion in terms of if the team would have been all 11-11 throughout the contest, right? Arsenal may not have even, been way more serious like they were after they actually left, Trossard left the team, during the half hour. So it was a wonderful game. Trust me. Whether you are, a soccer fan or not, right? You will always enjoy a mighty, Titan game like the one we watched yesterday, and we hope to see more of them shortly.
Gideon. We hope to see more of them shortly. As a matter of fact, that was Gideon Okibe analyzing the game between Manchester City and, of course, Arsenal. In that game, Arsenal had just 22% possession overall. Their second lowest recorded since 2003-2004, after 20% against Manchester City in August 2011. And as I speak, the picture of the second half is accurately painted by the fact that only they had 12.5% possession. Moving away from there, Britain and of course Forest slog out eventful draw. Britain and Hove Albion and Northern Forest maintain their unbeaten start to the Premier League season with a topsy-turvy 2-2 draw as the visitors finish with a 10-man on Sunday. Forest led through Chris Wood's 13th minute penalty, but Britain finally sprang to life just before the interval to turn the match on its head with 2 goals in this 3 minutes. And of course, the two clubs, like you all know, have 9 points from their opening games, with Britain in 7th spot, and of course just following themselves Forest 8-7, Britain at 7, then Forest 8. They are following themselves, and as I speak with you, one player and both manager were sent off in that game. Do you find anything interesting or anything intriguing in that game, Gideon?
Yeah, well, the thing is, Nottingham City, coming into the 2024-2025 season, is proving to be a thorn in the flesh of some of the big guns in the Premier League. Take for instance the shocking defeat, to Liverpool last EPL meetings, right? It was nothing anyone was looking out for. There may not be, the outcome of the game, right? The result may not actually tell the entire activity that played out that day, but they got the job done. And taking a close look at their performance, right, throughout the campaign so far, they have been very, very, tactical. especially from the managerial aspect. That was the same thing that played out yesterday against Brighton. Uh, you know, Brighton knew what was coming. They were well prepared, but they could not still stop it. Nottingham Forest opened the scoreline and they hit out. Even when Brighton equalized and even took the lead, Nottingham Forest did not just stop. They came back and still equalized and shared the spot. This is what it means for a determined team that don't want to be any longer within the bottom of the Premier League ladder. Shows you don't wait until the dying minute of the league before you start showing up, and that's what Nottingham Forest. I was super impressed with them, right? Because they did not just stop, after the show against Liverpool. Unlike what other teams will just do once in a while and they go relax and they go the next game, they take 3, 4, 5 from another, big team. But they have not really gotten to that stage of where Brighton is right now, but they are really, really muzzling up to meet up. So that particular encounter against Brighton over and Nottingham Forest it was just a spectacular Sunday for an EPL lover. And there was no moment to blink your eye. Every second of the game was worth watching. And honestly, I enjoyed my time yesterday. See?
John enjoyed his time yesterday. I don't know about you. Do you really enjoy your time? If you did enjoy your time, let me inform you that Haaland was able to reach 100 Manchester City goals. Norway striker was making his 105 appearance and his 100 start in just over 2 years at the club when he reached the century at Etihad Stadium. Erling Haaland reached the latest landmark of his career as he hit his 100 goal for Manchester City. It seems more prolific than ever this season. His 10 goals in the first 5 games of a top flight season is the best start since Aston Villa's Pongo Warring in 1930. That's a very long time ago. Takes Haaland's career tally to that's already is making his career tally 235 club goals altogether. That's for Haaland, for Mold, Red Bull, Sapsor, Borussia Dortmund, and City, where he is currently, and 32 goals for Norway. He's only a 24-year-old, and he's got this achievement. And as a matter of fact, it also means he equaled Cristiano Ronaldo's record at Real Madrid of fewest games needed to reach 100 goals for a team from Europe's top 5 leagues. He scored 73 Premier League goals for City, 18 in Champions League, 8 in the FA Cup, and 1 in the Carabao Cup. Some 73 have come with his left foot, 14 with his right, 12 with his head, and 1 that went in via his backside against Chelsea. He scored 18 of his 20 penalties and struck 6 from outside the box. What do you think of this performance? Does it mean anything? Because someone may say, hey, come on, that's what he does. So getting this goal and equaling this height doesn't mean anything. But for you, Gideon, does this one mean anything, or is it worth celebrating for Haaland?
Well, when you talk about goal scoring for Erling Haaland, right? Personally, I see him as a robot. I see him as a cheat code. If you play PS, you know what I'm talking about. All this cheat code that you have to use to win every game. And that is what Erling Haaland practically is. Imagine the stage of the Premier League right now. You're having more than 10 goals, right? Who does that? And if people go the entire season, right? Strikers, if I must be specific, goes the entire season and not having up to 10 goals. And it is not even up to 10 goals out of 38 games. 10 games out of 38 of it. And you already have more than 10 goals. We can imagine how much more we should expect at the end of the season. Erling Haaland, right, is trying to tell the entire world that whatever record have been set by the almighty Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi is breakable, especially when it comes to
All right, as a matter of fact, Gideon is coming back. As soon as he get back, we'll get him connected. I think I like that part when he talked about the fact that Erling Haaland is a cheat code, man. You know what he's talking about? If you are the PS type, you should know what he's talking about. That is one player you can use to get a win in almost all your games. And as he was saying, meaning with this stance so far, he's going to be able to do what Cristiano Ronaldo and other key players have done in the past, and that's kudos for Haaland. Moving away from there, let's go to other things happening from the world of sport, and I really want to bring to you some talking points from the Premier League over the weekend, as Manchester City needed a 98-minute equalizer, like we talked about earlier, from John Stones to stay at the top of the Premier League that they are right now, denying Arsenal a rare victory at the Etihad. They did everything in that game, and then 2-2. Well, I don't know, but then it's better to share the loss. Moving away from there, it should also interest you that as we speak right now, Liverpool and Aston Villa's game was something else. As I speak with you, the 2-2 draw means just 2 points separate from the top for after the victory that roots for Liverpool and Aston Villa. That is for the club now, talking about Manchester City. Then moving away, let's go to Chelsea right now. A lot of people have said so many things about Chelsea lately. All right, Gideon, I'm talking about Chelsea right now. I'm going into the matters arising. We've led the issue of Haaland, except if you want to learn about what you were saying something about Erling Haaland, how he is going to equal what Cristiano Ronaldo and other big guns are doing in the world of sports. I don't know if you really want to finish that statement. I think it's worth finishing because our fans are listening and they may be interested in getting to hear you land.
Yeah, so sorry about.
All right, as it is right now, let's quickly get to what is happening with Chelsea. I think, you know where we are. This is Nigeria, and sometimes you begin to have some glitches. That's how digital we are. All right, let's quickly get to Chelsea's game. Chelsea were able to climb back to fifth with a dominant 3-0 win at West Ham United, but there was more frustration for the toothless Manchester United. My God, did I just say Manchester United is toothless, meaning they don't get teeth for mouth? Is that what it means? I'm not the one saying that. That's what fans are saying. Manchester United fans, man, and I saw them talk. You know, be me talk. But then, as it is, Chelsea and Manchester United. Let me just talk about that game a little bit before my guest to come up again and talk about it. It was a very wonderful one as Chelsea was able to climb up to fifth position with a dominant 3-0 win at West Ham United. But there was this frustration that came for Manchester United, who were actually toothless. If you watch that game, you know what I'm talking about. So Gideon is going to react to that game much later when he comes up. But then for this season, Manchester United are still pushing, and like we will always say, the game just got started, and I think in a couple of weeks, we will get to know who is who in this game. So Gideon just said something that Arsenal may not go far. All right, in this game, like they've been doing, but some persons have already said, well, when it comes to this game, Arsenal gets to a particular position and they don't exceed that level. Will the same thing repeat itself this time? That's the big question. Get to the drawing board and answer that question. More still coming from the world of sport. It is still Talk Sport on global television. Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta was once Manchester City's manager's Pep Guardiola's assistant, and of course the respect between the two men has already previously softened. I don't know what softened it, but then he was his assistant before he moved into his own full-time coaching career as the manager. Well, as it is right now, the respect between them is being softened. The battle for supremacy you know, he is now managing a club while his boss is also managing a club. And when they meet up, I think the respect will not be there like when he was a subordinate, because everyone who come into playing this game is actually wanting to get a goal, and that's what matters right now. The battle for supremacy is what we are going to be talking about this morning. Supremacy between the two of them. I'm talking about Teta and Pep Guardiola, because when you're playing, everyone is looking out for your fans, the players, the coach, everyone is how to get a goal. But then you won't say, hey, he was my boss, so let me respect him and don't win this game. It doesn't happen in the world of sport. But then talking about the respect that has actually softened the battle for supremacy between the two sides is what is actually trending right now. Then moving away from there, Arsenal felt harshly treated when Leandro Trossard was actually sent off at the end of the first half for kicking the ball away, receiving a second yellow card. Yeah, I don't know what you think about that, but then sometimes these things happen. Some of the things you do, this is a game that has a central referee, has an official. Not just the central referee, apart from the central referee, we also have other officials monitoring everything that you do in the field of play as you run after the round leader. Of course, participating in the round leader game alone should make you even behave maturely, should make you apply wisdom in everything that you do. That a red card was actually not supposed to come, but then he got that yellow card, and that was the second yellow card. He had to leave, and of course, like Gideon said, that even propelled Arsenal to do more. Because if that red card never came, they may have been sluggish. Maybe Manchester City, as usual, may have taken the day. But then the way it happened is that because they are one man down, they put in more energy and they almost defeated Manchester City at home, which has never happened in a very long time. All right, welcome back, Gideon. Gideon, we've passed Erland. We're talking about the game that was played, Chelsea's game. We're talking about the Manchester United game, and I was talking about the fact that Chelsea were able to climb to fifth position with a dominant of 3-0 win at West Ham. But then it was a frustrating moment for Manchester United in their own game, where they remain very toothless, as if they don't have any teeth in their mouths. Then I was also talking about boss Mikel Arteta, and of course Pep Guardiola. Arteta actually assisted Pep Guardiola, but right now everyone is coaching different clubs now, and they are struggling for supremacy. Then we also talk about the fact that Arsenal felt very bad, and they felt they were badly treated when their player was sent off, even though that gave them more energy to play that game yesterday, like you said. All right, moving away from there, like that gave them energy to play that game. Do you want to say anything about Chelsea's game, Manchester United game?
Yeah, so quick one, right? I think Chelsea is trying to meet up with the hype and the expectation that have been set for them. So if you look at their statistics and their match performance, if you're a Chelsea fan, you'll be much more impressed compared to what they had, in previous seasons that have, they've spent so much. You notice that Chelsea did not spend as much as required this season, even though they did a few recruitments. Just the weekend game showed how much commitment they are ready to push, for the season. And I'm super excited for them, at least.
All right. Well, it is still network glitch. I think I'll need to continue with the rest of the program this morning. But then, talking about Chelsea, a lot of people, a lot of Nigerian fans are not even happy with Chelsea in the first place. Why are they not happy with Chelsea? Because of the treatment melted to, of course, Nigerian player. All right, Gideon, you can go on. Go on, Gideon. All right. Osimhen the good thing is that Osimhen is not even doing badly where he is in Galatasaray. And I'm going to be telling you about that game. I can't stop talking about Osimhen. He has been making statements. I know some Chelsea fans will be regretting right now because they couldn't get him at the end of the day. Maybe because of whatever it is that played out. Some persons were blaming Chelsea management because of the ownership war in Chelsea, probably. And some of the persons are saying because Maresca didn't do well. Some other person said his agent is at fault because he even had to shade his agent, put his agent aside to get to Galatasaray where he is right now. It is still Talk Sport live on your screen. Let me quickly bring you all the things happening from the world of sport. As soon as Gideon comes up, he's going to talk more about what is actually talking about. Gideon is here. Hello, Gideon.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay, so quick one. Let me just quickly round up with the story of Chelsea and how much they have been making progress. I think every Chelsea fan is quite impressed with the progress. And Manchester United have really, really not shown to the standard we actually know them for. You know, it still look like they are within the same status quo that they actually trade through last season. We expect more from Manchester United, and you know, conceding 3 goals to Liverpool and game after game, we are not getting convincing, wins. And last week, against a very small team, you still can't get the entire 3 points. It doesn't really show well for Manchester United. I think it's right time for Manchester United to start looking away from the current management that they have. If it is the management, right, and it is not the players, then we can actually justify a player like Sancho. You see, Sancho leaving Manchester United, playing for Chelsea, we could see the difference. Seeing how much performance he has bring, how much change he has bring to Chelsea in very, very minute period of time, and this is what we always talk about, right? If it could be the environment you find yourself, if it is not working for you, I remember Ramsey always said, if it is not working for you, you go to where you'll be celebrated. And we can see that the guy is really, really happy now. So the challenge is within Manchester United. They need to look deep in within themselves and try to figure out what the challenge is. Cristiano Ronaldo made a point at some point. He said Manchester United are living within the old glories. Even their system, their structures, their infrastructures, right, are still within the old, outdated, style. They need to phase out some of those structures and bring in new technologies that will aid the system to compete with the likes of Manchester City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. Okay, and talking about Victor Osimhen, it's expected, right? If you are gifted, you are gifted, and it doesn't matter where you are. Yeah, Chelsea fans all over the world will not be happy seeing Osimhen, making that progress, unless the Nigerian fans, of course, right? And we are expecting more from him. I think somehow Chelsea might want to reconsider and up their offer, because Osimhen any day, anytime will bring in, great results for any team, irrespective of the location, time, or space.
Thank you very much, Gideon. Let's go on a quick break. After this break, we'll bring you more from the world of sport, because so many things in the world of sport that we can't even exhaust within this space of time. But then we'll do the best that we can, because you are our valid fans and you deserve to know. After this break, more will still be coming on your way. Don't go anywhere.
shot it, squares it, it's in the back.
It's time for sports' biggest moments on global television. The headlines, scores, breaking news, and commentaries on sporty events. Talking with the biggest players, strikers, and about the slam dunks and goals, stunning saves, near misses, and upsets. Let's talk about the greatest home runs, comebacks, knockdowns, and victories. Talk sports with the king of sports, Anthony Momadou. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Don't miss out.
Oh, that goal! Beautiful one!
All right, as a matter of fact, they still talk sports live on your screen. Let's get to what is happening from Liverpool right now as Liverpool manager and Slaughter has praised his side's aggression as they bounce back from an embarrassing Premier League defeat to Nottingham Forest a week ago by blasting 3 goals past Bournemouth in the opening 45 minutes. And of course, after a toothless display against the Forest, Slaughter pleased with how his side actually implemented his plan, his game plan. You know, every coach is excited when his game plan is seriously followed, religiously followed to the latter. Moving away from there, let's go talk about other things happening from the world of sport. I would like to move from what is happening right now and go to the La Liga, where Barcelona actually beat Villarreal to maintain their 100% record in a La Liga game. How did it happen? Barcelona's goalkeeper was so outstanding, talking about Marc-Andre ter Stegen, as he suffered a very serious injury. I don't know, maybe that injury came because of the way he wanted to stop every goal, and he was carried out with a stretcher. Robert Lewandowski got 2 goals and missed a penalty. As a matter of fact, that game was such a fantastic game. However, the coach said the injury, according to what he said Stegen's injury near the end of the first half was a worrying development for Barcelona. Barcelona are top of the La Liga despite whatever, but then they are 4 points clear of reigning champions, talking about Real Madrid, who are the reigning champion right now. They are the reigning champion, and they have drawn 2 of their 6 matches. Moving away from there, let's go to other things happening. Atletico head to the draw at Rayo Vallecano. As a matter of fact, that game ended 1-1. On Sunday, La Liga falling to 4th in the whole table. Diego Simeone's side are still unbeaten. For now, they are trailing leaders Barcelona by 6 points after 6 beautiful games that they've played so far. And as I speak with you, the Catalans actually ramped to a 5-1 win at Villarreal. Moving away from there, I just want you to know also that Atletico Bilbao overtook Atletico Madrid to actually move into 3rd with a 3-1 against Celta Vigo earlier on Sunday. Well, that's that. Let me quickly go to what is happening from Italy. Now, let's get to Italy. Are you ready? Italy, here we come. All right, this is about Matteo Gabbia, who secured a dramatic last late-minute winner. It was a last-minute winner as AC Milan actually beat fierce rival. I call them fierce rival. Talking about Inter Milan in the Milan derby to ease the pressure on manager Paulo. I know Paulo Fonseca was actually very excited yesterday because of that game, and I think it is a good one for them. It was a bullet header which earned his team a 2-1 win and a local bragging right because it was a debut, of course, while Roma actually thumped Udinese 3-0 as fans protested the shock sacking of Daniel De Rossi. The loss was actually Inter's first at home in the league for a year, and that means they miss the chance to go top of the table. That's just the consequence of that game. So far, so good. And as I speak with you, I think it is something that needs to be handled when it comes to booing of managers, CEOs, and even players still from Italy. Roma cruised to pass Udinese 3-0, like I told you earlier in the game. Then this is the most interesting and the most fantastic and the most amazing and the most intriguing part of the games that went down over the weekend. I don't know how you look at it, but for me, this is an A game for me as Galatasaray because of Osimhen. Every Nigerian right now is paying key attention to everything happening from Galatasaray. And as a matter of fact, Galatasaray trump over Fenerbahce 3-1, ending Fenerbahce's impressive 32-match unbeaten streak in the Turkish Super League. That happened Saturday night, and Nigerians and every Galatasaray fan cannot recover from it in a hurry. It was a very wonderful one as this match marked Jose Mourinho's debut as Fenerbahce's coach, and he's gotten this in Istanbul derby, which resulted in a bitter defeat for the Portuguese manager. Well, Jose Mourinho, the guy gets mouth. Go and talk. All right, let's come back home to Nigeria right now. This is not a good news, but then we just need to say to our fans because you deserve to know. Enugu Rangers lost end as Nigeria just get out of the CAF Champions League challenge. How did it really happen? Enugu Rangers were eliminated from the CAF Champions League after losing 3-1 away to Angola club. What's the name of the club? Sagrada Esperanca. On Sunday was when that game actually happened, leaving Nigeria with no representative right now. As I speak with you, we got no representative right there in the group stage, and that's so heartbreaking as Rangers went out 3-2 on aggregate after building a 1-goal lead in the first leg of the second round qualifier last weekend. But this weekend, Nigeria have competed in the Champions League 4 times, and they never made it to the mini league phase. They don't even make it to the mini league stage. So how do they even get over that and go close to the winning? Big money is involved right here, but now I don't want to talk about that money because it's so huge. How much am I talking about here? The prize money kicks with $800,000. You know what I'm talking about. If you know the exchange rate, if you are in the market, you know what I'm talking about. But then that money actually slipped through their hand. Former champions Stade Abidjan of the Ivory Coast are back in the competition after a 54-year absence, while FAR Rabat and of course Al Hilal of Sudan also qualified on Sunday. But Nigeria should be returning back home right now as we speak. Let's quickly talk about what is happening to sport in Nigeria. Government must take development of sports seriously. Who is making this statement? This is coming from the president of the Nigerian Wrestling Federation, talking about Daniel Igali, who has called on the federal government to take sport very, very seriously. Talk about sport. Take sport seriously. Talk sport. Take sport. Do sport. Move sport. Push sports to the heights that it's supposed to be, so that Nigerians actually can be interested in this brand leader game and other games that they can take it seriously. The team Nigeria actually disappointing performance at the 2024 Paralympic World Game was something else, and of course the Olympic champion criticized the fire brigade approach that always come during tournaments. During tournaments, they just gather people and just take them there. At the end of the day, they go embarrassing the country because they feel if these people go, they will get some money into their pocket without even getting adequate preparation. And that has been a problem. This is coming from Igali, as a matter of fact. All right, time is moving very fast. What is really the issue? According to Igali, he said the contribution of the federal government will go a long way in sport, because underdevelopment of sport across the country is becoming too much. Igali emphasized the need for Nigeria to refocus on age-grade competition if the country wants to excel in international events. He stressed that deliberate steps must be taken to eliminate age cheating, as it defeats the purpose of youth tournament. As a matter of fact, I don't know what you think about this, but the president of the Nigerian Wrestling Association has said that there are so many games in Nigeria, so many sporting activities in Nigeria. Look at the Dambe, the local wrestling that's going on in the north. No one is even paying attention to that. Dambe is a very, very lucrative and industrial sport, and it can bring money to the table, but nobody is actually looking at that area. And handball, basketball, talk about rugby, talk about tennis, talk about boxing. You know, we have a lot of games. All right, as I try to round up this morning on Talk Sport, athletes charged with unity as 11th FASU Games begin again. That is the African University Games, which officially began in Lagos State on Saturday with the opening ceremony at the University of Lagos Sports Center. Universities from about 43 African countries have actually converged at the University of Lagos, and of course the Lagos State University is agog right now, marking the first time two universities will jointly host the game. Let's quickly round up this morning as we move to the world of golf. Let me talk about golf a little bit, because a lot of people don't know much about golf. Golf is one prestigious game that can actually teach you so many things, and it can earn you a very good means of livelihood. All right, that's for golf, but then let's quickly talk about what is happening right now as Rory McIlroy remain positive despite a playoff defeat in the BMW PGA Championship, condemning him to his latest near miss in 2024. The world number 3 was beaten on the second playoff hole by American Billy Horschel as they went forth on Sunday. It was a very wonderful game, but then Rory McIlroy narrowly missed out on winning the US Open in June. You could remember that. And let's lead slip again in the final round to finish second in last weekend's Irish Open at Royal Country Down after going close to an eagle on the final hole to actually force a playoff. But then games like this are not well known in Nigeria, but I don't know why they don't know it. We will need to keep talking about it. We'll need to keep creating the awareness, and we need to keep talking so that the government can actually do something about it. It is Talk Sport. Well, Nigerians are more interested in the EPL, La Liga, Italian Serie A, talking about the German Bundesliga and all of the games. But when it comes to our local sports, the NPFL, the NNL, and the likes, no one wants to pay real attention to it. And then something needs to be done to make these games entertaining and juicy enough for Nigerians to pay attention to it. And that's going to be the size of Talk Sport this morning. I know that at least we've been able to give you a few information from the world of our sport. We'll come on your way again, same time, same station tomorrow. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Bye-bye for now, and have a wonderful week ahead of you.